this is Marilyn.
And this is Carolina, and you're listening to
Morning Coffee.
We welcome you and are so excited to have you join us on this fun learning journey. We wanted to take some time to tell you about our podcast and how it came to be.
So, I don't know if you remember this. I think this was now, like a month ago, where we were texting casually.
I was born at work. Yes, I remember.
And you know, the funny thing is that we don't really text all the time.
Yeah.
So I was just, it was kind of one of those New Year, let me make sure I'm keeping up with my friends.
Low-key was kind of concerned that something happened, but then you kept it. You were okay. So I was like, okay.
Right, that is true. Sometimes people will text and you're like, okay, if you're texting me, either you need something
or something's wrong.
Yeah. And so, no, but I text you and I was just like, hey, how's it going? Just wanted to say hello. And it was a casual text. And then you asked me what I wanted to do for this year or what goals I had. Or I don't know if I asked you first. I don't remember. But we got to the conversation.
Yeah.
And then we talked about school, going back to school and all of that. And then I brought up that I had been wanting to do a podcast.
Yes.
Now, the funny thing about that is whenever I mentioned it, I had already given up on the idea of doing a podcast.
You had already given up?
Yeah, because I had like a whole year of wanting to do one. But I kept changing my topic. Like, I would tell myself, oh, you know what? It's going to be me interviewing people and doing this and that. Mm-hmm. And then it changed into, oh, no, it's going to be more of a devotional. And so I kept changing it. And then I realized if I can't stick with the idea, I'm not passionate enough to want to keep going through with it.
True. Okay.
And so whenever you brought up that you were interested in podcasts, because you mentioned you had been
binging everything I found.
Yes. So then that kind of like, and when I asked you, it was kind of like, one of those, hey, you want to come over? And you're just like, oh, sure. You're like, oh, okay, cool. Yeah. That was the kind of setup. I was just like, well, if you're out, I'd be down to do a podcast with you if you're up for it. And you were just like, oh yeah,
yeah, I have a lot of free time. I don't do anything.
So from there, it just kind of turned into, all right, let's brainstorm and figure out what topic or what, I guess, theme or what our setup is going to be. And from there, we used one of the titles that I had been thinking about. We tweaked it. We changed the setup of it, and we decided what would work best for us.
Yeah.
So it kind of just came down to both of us realizing we're at a place in life where we want to continue to grow, continue to learn, just be more, I guess, well-rounded in the things, because it's easy at work. You work hard to become so good at what you do.
Yeah.
That you become an expert at that, but everything else kind of just becomes like, if I'm not aware of it or if nobody talks about it, I don't know anything about it.
Yeah. Well, and then this is me. If I ever go to a party or hang out with someone, I like to come up with a random, like, interesting fact. Mm-hmm. And this is a great way to tell more people about that.
Right, exactly. Yeah, that's actually a great point, because there's a lot of, what is it called? Social networking or networking.
Yeah.
Where, you meet new people, and you talk about, I know sometimes guys will talk, their go-to is like sports, or you want to talk about college and you want to talk about certain things, but there gets to a point where you want to go beyond this is my bubble, this is what I know, and kind of reach out and say, well, there's more to me than what's in my direct circle. So really our intention here is to find more about things that we're both interested in. Yeah. And I think the cool thing about this is we both have two different backgrounds. We have similarities.
Yes.
But we have different backgrounds. So when we approach these topics, I'm very excited to see the inputs that we're going to have.
Yeah, because we both have we're similar and we're in the STEM field. Mm-hmm. So our way of thinking is kind of similar. Mm-hmm. But we do have our own life and our own background. That was so different. Mm-hmm. So, unique in its own individual way,
right?
That our own perspective is going to have its own different twist on it, and I'm excited to see how it turns out together and how we kind of research and learn topics.
Right, and so the way we're going to go about this is we're going to be picking a few topics every week, and we're going to do our research separately.
Yeah.
And then we're going to come back together, and we're not going to tell each other what we researched. We just know that this is our topic, and we're going to decide how in depth we want to go about certain things. And so that's going to be the interesting part of, you know, the listeners, is they're going to be listening in to our authentic reactions of, hey, this is what I found out.
Yeah.
Did you find out the same thing, or where did you go with it? And that's kind of the perspective that's going to make this very, very interesting, because, you know, some topics you can kind of like, I think we were talking about this the other day, when you go down this rabbit hole, right? You research one thing, and then you're like, oh, what about this? And then what about this? And before you know it, kind of like on those YouTube videos, you started watching one thing, and the next thing you know, you're like watching something completely different, and you just kind of went on to these videos you might like, or
but the one thing we do want to tell you guys is that these topics, we did research them on our own. We're by no means in any way experts at this at all. And then we also, this is kind of like our own opinion on it, or we're not trying to persuade you or change how you think about things in a certain way. We just want you to be informed about certain things and listen in as we learn and as we grow.
Right. And we want participation, right? Like if we cover a topic, I always like using this example because my brother's an accountant. So I always say, if we cover like a topic that we want to know more about, like, you know, accounting per se, you know, in this scenario, like if you are an accountant and you're very familiar with it, or you took courses, or you know people who are like hardcore fans about it or know a lot about it, like we want that kind of participation, and we want your input and say, hey, you know, you missed this, or hey, look, there's a link to this and that. Again, we're not going to become those experts, but we acknowledge that our listeners are experts at something. And when we bring up your subject, or maybe something that's like a hobby or a side gig or side business, you know, we want that kind of input, because again, we're not the experts, but we want to become more well-rounded and know more than what we did yesterday.
Very true. And so we kind of our setup for this is going to be is just me and Marilyn kind of chatting and having coffee. And just like at a coffee shop, I don't know about you, but I know I do it. Sometimes if something interesting is going on at the next table, I might listen in a little bit. And so we kind of want you guys to be the ones listening in at the next table, and hopefully our conversation is interesting enough that we keep you engaged the entire time.
Exactly. And we encourage it. We want you to be a part of this. If you're a coffee lover, this is kind of where the name comes from. We both love our coffee. And so it's meant to be a conversation. You're joining in, and you're learning and having fun. And we're going to be releasing these episodes every single Thursday. So make sure that you do mark your calendars, and that you follow us on Instagram. We'll have our YouTube channel out there as well. And, you know, just subscribe, comment, send us email, send us love. Like we're all for it.
Yeah, but please be nice about it. I'm very delicate, so please.
You know, it's so funny that you say that, because I've always told people that sometimes I think about like famous people and how they go through, you know, all this like just people opinionating and stuff.
Yeah.
And I always tell my husband, you know what? I feel like I wouldn't make it as a celebrity, because
I'd cry all the time.
Some people are just so harsh, and you know, they tell you don't pay attention to it, but I think if anything, this is going to be a learning curve for me. But you know, we're all about knowledge is power, and have fun, and we love coffee. So
please
all
be
good
kind
things.
to us.
Yes, all good things.
Yeah.
Just, you know, with the intention of, you know, just learning more and having fun again.
Yeah, so if you liked our rambling in this welcome episode, catch it on our first episode. You'll be listening to us more, hopefully. You'll be listening to us talking about random topics and hopefully getting into depth, also making fun of ourselves, and then just laughing and chatting through this time. So we hope to, I guess, not be in your ear, that sounds creepy. But, you know, we hope that you listen in soon, and then hopefully we can teach you more about a lot of things that we're learning about as we go.
And of course, if you have any recommendations, things that you've researched on your own as well and you think is interesting for us to look into, we're open to that. Share along with your friends if this is something you find very interesting. Share it with your family, your friends. Let them know that you're listening to our beautiful voices.
Yeah, sorry about that. But yeah, we can't wait to put our content out into the world, and hopefully you guys are very receptive of it, and again, kind about it. And then we can't wait to see you soon. Bye, guys.
Bye.